mother's youngest brother, Christopher Johnson, died when he was quite young in 1950. The funeral procession came out from Inishdoney Island to the mainland at Rossclare Jetty. Mr. John Switzer, who was the editor of the Impartial Reporter at that time, wrote a very touching story about his funeral, and I'm going to read just a few snippets from that. The funeral of Mr. Christopher Johnston took place on Sunday from his home on Inishdoney Island to Killidees Parish Church. There was a service at the home, and the many people who came to pay their respects gathered on the mainland at Rossclare, where the road ends at the loch side. Across the waters from the shadow of Inishdoney, a small cluster of rowing boats appeared to the watchers, black silhouettes against the hard brilliance of the January sun, appearing and disappearing among the waves. Slowly the little fleet took shape, one boat a short distance in front, nearer and nearer. Occasionally an oar blade caught in a crest, lifting a white feather of spray, which hung for a moment, poised, before the wind snatched it away like smoke. It was a wild, strangely primitive scene. The nearer hills across the loch, picked out in olive and yellow by the brittle sunlight, islands with black tree trunks crowding to the water's edge, mountains and dark clouds frowning over the sparkling of the rough waters, misty patches of rain driving across the country occasionally, turning the picture grey and dispirited, whipping the water into tumbling white horses. Slowly across it came the little convoy with its sad burden. A timeless picture, nature the everlasting, man that is born of a woman with but a short time to live. Seeming ever swifter came the leading boat, 4 men bringing their brother on his last trip to the mainland. A man wise with a natural philosophy, he was cheerful, upright, and modest withal, one who made his living on Loch Earn, his home on one of the islands, who knew the loch in all its thousand moods and loved it. Now at last, surely and gently, the 4 brought their charge to the pier and to the land, to the place known thereabouts as the end of the road. The crowd stood silent and reverent, and the accompanying boats waited offshore. Further out, engines sounding quietly, lay a large launch, waiting to disembark mourners and wreaths. At the slipway the waves were smaller in the shelter of the pier, and they lapped about the stern of the boat, now pulled a little way out of the water. One little wave, perhaps representative of all the others, lifted itself above the transom, and with its crest tenderly touched the coffin just before it was raised to the land, as though Loch Earn were bidding farewell to one well loved. Those who work or play on the waters of the loch will not easily forget Christy Johnston. To those who knew him, the loch will never seem quite the same again.